Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. My name's Zach, or you can also call me Zach Boti. And in this video, we're going to be doing another Knight and Dragon little watercolor piece. This is probably not probably, this is the actual, or my actual first watercolor illustration, I guess you could say, or watercolor painting, ink and watercolor drawing, however you want to put it. And I've really been enjoying this theme of a knight kind of going to take on a dragon, and this one's more of like a green dragon or like a forest dragon, kind of guarding a tower in a forest, or like near a swamp or a forest lake. Just kind of wanted to continue to, I guess, stick with this dragon knight theme and just see where it takes me, but we'll probably be changing it up here soon enough. But really what I want to talk about in this video is art in general, art as a hobby, or maybe as a dream for some of you. And doing all this watercolor stuff and kind of learning a new medium really brought me back to the beginning of the journey, and kind of some nostalgic feels, both good and bad, of making art is really difficult. And I don't mean that to, like, I guess, undermine anything else anybody does in this life, so to speak, but learning to make art is hard. It's kind of like learning a new language, that like when once you do learn the language, learn the fundamentals, the language changes into a different one, and then once you learn that new language, it changes again, and then again and again, like perpetually. And I don't know if this like quote unquote language changing will ever stop. I don't feel like it will, because as artists, like, the further you go down the road of being one, the more you kind of learn to see your own work and see the world, and your perspective on things changes, and that starts to be incorporated into your work now. And then now you have to kind of learn what that new perspective is, so on and so forth. The journey becomes much less about the technical part, right? And that's still definitely a part of it, like learning to keep up with those fundamentals and push them forward. But I would say that side of things, once you get to a certain point, is easy, because it, right? It's just about like correcting your mistakes and realizing your weak points, and strengthening those pretty much, and then further exacerbating on your strengths you have already, right? But so much more of it is learning to feel the world and learning your shortcomings in that realm, because like I was saying, like, the fundamentals is really just the prologue to the greater journey. And art is something that's painful, right? Like, growth is painful, it's difficult. A lot of finding your style and things like that is letting go of parts of yourself that, like, who you thought you were, but it's not actually who you are. It's really just as easy as people and flippantly as people say it, like, being an artist is just being yourself. But finding out what that self is it takes years for some people. It took me years, right? And I still don't even know if I fully know it, right? It's like, you're similarly to the other portion, like, you're always learning who you are, and you kind of, like, I would say, relearn who you are every time you make a piece of art, right? Because it is, while it is part of you and you're the one making it, it's also something that, the best way I can describe it is, like, it flows through you, right? Like, it's kind of like the Force in Star Wars, so to speak, where, like, sometimes you make something, you don't even know how you got there. It just exists now, right? You're kind of like a conduit for whatever the artistic force is in the world, or whatever you want to call it, because art is something that's so difficult to do, or learn to do, or I would say maintain more than learn. I think, I firmly believe with enough dedication and discipline and practice, anybody can learn to make art, or to draw, or whatever your individual goals may be. But to maintain it over the course of years is the difficult part. And it's definitely one of those things that it's not really about the destination, it's about the journey, because the destination, I think, is like, you're never really going to get there, and it's much bigger than you are, and I think it's bigger than a lifetime, a human lifetime at least. And not letting yourself get bogged down with the immensity of the journey and focus on the now is super important. But I feel like this video is getting really deep, but it's just kind of some stuff I've been thinking about, because learning a new medium, I would say the piece I'm making doesn't necessarily look bad, right? But it is different, it's uncomfortable for me, and it is learning something new. I would say my mistakes show a lot more than when I'm doing like the comic or stuff like that. And there's obviously mistakes in the comic, and I'm not flawless, of course, but I can see my weak points more when watercolor painting, because I'm not used to the medium, so, like, it's just, it's just kind of another reset, another restart of the journey, you know, a very small one, of course, and kind of, I would say, more of a setback, and I mean that in the best way. Yeah, it's just interesting. You know, the journey never ends. Hopefully this video wasn't too word vomity. I've just been really thinking about this stuff lately, because, you know, to be honest, I've been in a pretty large period of art block and really feeling like I'm needing to force my creativity, at least as of late, which is not like an ideal place to be. You know, sometimes it flows, sometimes I just, you know, shove it out there. And my general philosophy with art block is like, you know, if I want to create, I'm going to create, but if I absolutely cannot, then I'll take a break. But I'll always try and do something. And as long as I can push something out that I'm happy with still, like, I'll keep going. And then when I get to the point where I can't, that's when I'll take a break and, you know, not burn out completely. At least that's my rhythm. You probably have a different one, but it just got me thinking about how difficult this all is. And, you know, that's kind of also what makes it worthwhile. But thanks for hanging out, guys. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I should have another part of the comic coming out this week, probably by the end of the week. I would guess around Sunday on the 15th, if not very early next week. Should be another 3 to 4 pages, probably 3. But I'm just chunking away at stuff. I'm doing a lot more inking lately and then coloring the pages all in one chunk. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm working now, and I feel really good about that. But thanks for hanging, guys, and I'll see you later.